Welcome back, everyone. We've been having a wonderful, quick confab with our next two guests. We're going to try not to slaughter their names, but we've got Gretta Berghammer and Tyann Rouw. Did I get even close?
Yeah. Yes. Perfect.
Welcome to the show, ladies. And Gretta, tell us what type of theater we're talking about and the benefits for youth with autism with theater. Tell us what type of theater you're on.
I would love to talk about autism and theater.
Okay, great.
What I think caught your eye is a new piece that I'm working on, which is a type of theater called immersion theater. And what immersion theater does is it creates a very specific environment and then gives the audience the opportunity to interact not only with the environment, but with the actors as well. So the audience does not assume the traditional role of sitting and watching. You know, in this case, it's they come in, they're offered a costume piece, and then they're given an opportunity to actually participate in the production itself. And the one I'm working on right now is in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing.
Oh, wow.
So the young people who come to the theater will be traveling to the moon with the 15 actors that I've been working with.
I want to go to the moon with you guys.
I'd love for you to go to the moon with us. We really would. You know, theater is, in my opinion, evolving, is becoming, I think, a really beautiful, supportive way of including young people on the autism spectrum in social settings with others. Yes, they get this fabulous artistic and theatrical opportunity, but for me, it's being in an environment that requires humans to interact with each other in some capacity, and that can be verbal or that can be nonverbal. And because theater relies on modeling, because it is so highly visual, because it has such potential for being interactive and engaging, because this immersive theater does not require that you stay contained in restrictive setting, I think it really supports the gifts and skills and talents and behaviors of youth with autism.
Well, amen to that. You're preaching to the choir here. And I will say that we had Dr. Kerry Magro on the show a week ago today. He's a young gentleman diagnosed at the age of, I think, 4, who just got his PhD. And when we asked him, you know, what do you think the secret sauce for your success is, Dr. Magro? And one of the first things that popped out of his mouth was,
theater. My
mother took me and made me participate in theater, and it helped me immensely. So there you go.
Now, we've also got with us Tyann Rouw. And Tyann, you have 3 teenage sons, and you're a full-time mom and a part-time writer. And your twins, Isaac and Noah, were diagnosed with autism before their 2nd birthdays. And tell us about their involvement in theater.
Well, I have 3 boys, and 2 of them have been involved in theater quite a bit with Gretta. And we first met Gretta through a project that she did called the Spectrum Theater. And after they went to a couple of those sessions, Gretta said, you know what, I think they are ready to get involved in something a little bit more complicated. And so they were involved in what's called Sturgis Youth Theater, which is a 1-month-long summer production. And my kids were not really interested in doing it at all. And Gretta said, okay, here is a ticket to see Jack and the Beanstalk, which is what they performed that summer. My kids went, I went, we watched it. They loved the show. But when I said, hey, is this something that you want to do? They said, no, absolutely not. We don't want to do it. And Gretta said, don't worry, I've got a plan. And Gretta's kind of sneaky. So long story is that she recruited my boys to kind of help do some research for an upcoming summer production. She listened to their opinions. She had them check out books from the library. She took them to the coffee shop and had discussions with other peers. And she really listened to their opinions. and they became really invested in kind of the show and in the relationship with Gretta and other peers. And finally she said, okay, can I count on you to be in the next show, which at the time was Cinderella? And they said, yes, we'd love to. So they kind of were manipulated in a way to be there. But they have never looked back.
Well, good teaching always is manipulation, right? So that's okay when it's all for the good. But we should talk about the fact that you, in addition to being a writer, you have a podcast. Tell us about your podcast, Tyann.
The podcast is actually something that my husband and one of my sons does, and it's called Autism in the Wild. And Gretta's actually been on the podcast twice, but it was kind of a brainchild of my husband and my son Noah, and they've been having a lot of fun with it.
Well, and so where can people go to listen to Autism in the Wild?
You can go to iTunes and check it out there, or really any other place where podcasts are available.
And you've got a blog. I was thinking that the blog and the podcast went together, but you've got a blog. What's your blog?
I do. It's called Turn Up the V.
And as in volume?
What is the V?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually stands for volume, but
Okay.
It also stands for Valium.
Oh, okay, great.
Wonderful.
We can relate to that.
So, with this new production that you're doing, what's the title of the show, Gretta?
The name of the show is called To Touch the Moon.
Ooh,
And the
I
young
like it.
people who are coming to see it, just 15 at a time, will come 3 different times to participate in 3 different episodes.
Wow.
In episode 1, they get a chance to practice what it's like to be an explorer in a new environment. In episode 2, we turn the clock back to 1969, and they're going to pretend to be astronauts in training. And they go through a series of experiences at Building 9 on the NASA campus. And then they come back a 3rd day and for episode 3, which is actually on the surface of the moon. And each episode lasts about 45 or 50 minutes.
And so how can people find out? This is happening in Iowa, in Cedar Falls, Iowa?
It is. It's happening in Cedar Falls, Iowa, on the campus at the University of Northern Iowa. If anyone listening or watching this is interested, they should reach out to me, as seating is very, very limited. Like I said, just 15 young people and then 15 adults who come with them to watch what's happening in each of these episodes. And I can be reached through email, which is Gretta, Gretta, then there's a dot, and then my long last name, Berghammer, Berghammer @uni.edu. They can also just do a Google search for the Sturgis Youth Theater, and they would be able to find me as well.
And then
Okay,
you're going to
great.
do a summer program again this year too?
I am doing a summer program again. That will involve about 50 young people. As is true of all of my work, it's completely inclusive. Of the 50 young people who will participate this summer, approximately 25% will be identified to me as individuals on the autism spectrum. And so all 50 of these young people will come together and help me do a production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, great.
And is that like a month-long thing, or how long?
Yeah, it's a 4-week. Yeah, it's a 4-week camp, and young people are with me anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, 5 days a week. And it's a great experience for, like I said, a group of young people to come together and work across age and grade levels, because it's open to anyone who is ages 9 and up.
That's amazing. It makes my pulse race. I'm sure that there are other parents too that hear this and go, oh, I'd love to have my child involved.
Yeah, Tyann, what advice would you give to a parent who might be hesitant about having their child involved with theater?
Well, I would tell the parent, I was a little bit hesitant too, but your kids will really surprise you with what they can do in theater. And Gretta in particular has really no expectations about what the kids cannot do. She just assumes everyone is competent and can do anything. I would say, give it a try. Theater is inclusive, it's welcoming, And also, you know, discuss any needs or support that you feel that your student might need, and figure out a plan to make those kinds of things happen, and just go for it.
It's a really wonderful program. And Greta, you've been doing this for how long?
9 years now.
And that's, you've got to have a wealth of knowledge. What would you say, very concisely, in as short as amount of time as you can, what have you learned in 9 years that we should all know?
I've learned 3 things. I've learned, number one, that parents are the best expert for their young person, and that it is critical that I listen to what they tell me about their young person and make as many offers as possible that I can think of to help support their young person. If I can't think of it, then it's my job to invent it. It's me doing what I can to support them. The second thing is that, and I know I may anger some people when I say this, but I truly believe it from the bottom of my heart. Best practices for working with young people on the autism spectrum is just good practice. I don't know a single young person who doesn't benefit from visual prompts, who doesn't benefit from peer mentoring, who doesn't benefit from something being modeled or explained in ways that include language or non-language. And the third one is that, theater helps all young people, but especially those on the spectrum, begin to trust their imagination and the beauty of playing pretend. And, once you can get comfortable with that, so many other ways of thinking just begin to open up to you, just from the way that you visualize reading a book to the way that you begin to think about solving problems.
Well,
Okay.
We love what you're doing.
Love it.
And is there a website that people can go to if they want to know more?
Yes, they can go to the Sturgis Youth Theater website. They can also find myself, Tyann, and the Sturgis Youth Theater on Facebook as well.
Okay, great.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, ladies. This is incredible. If I get to Iowa, I'm going to be looking you up because this makes me happy.
Yes, it does.
Or better yet, invite us to LA to do a performance.
Okay, that
all
sounds
right.
good too.
I'm going to go
All right.
find a bank to rob because I would love to have you do that. That would be amazing.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And good
Take
luck
care.
this summer. All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Oh, that excites me.
I know your theater is
Like
your
I
thing.
get all itchy and go,
Yep.
I want to do theater with our kids on our spectrum, and I'm trying to work that out so that I can. But time has to permit.
Time.
Yes, but that's how much fun and how much all of those kids will learn. That's just
Exactly.
really incredible. All right, we've got to take a break
Fullerton Cares.
because we have to get a bunch of people into the studio. We've got Fullerton Cares in the house. Larry Hauser, Boyd, and Madeline. Dabbs is going to be with us as well. They're going to be amazing. You're going to love it. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us.